G'day guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome back for episode 20 of Wasteland Survival. So in the last episode we finished off the episode by printing off these 4 ships, and as you can see they're still sitting here, they're doing nothing. Now in between this episode and the last episode I've actually gone ahead and changed up the back end of these 2 ships ever so slightly, and I hope to upload this updated version onto the workshop soon. However, there seems to be a little bit of an issue with me updating my blueprints at this moment, and it seems like every time I try and update the blueprint it actually creates an entirely new version of it. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It only seems to be happening with this ship because I was able to successfully update the blueprint for the Pilgrim. Anyway, let's go have a look at one of the other things that I've done while I've been gone as well. So the second thing that I've done is I've actually mirrored the ramp that we created on the other side of the garage onto this side. So you can kind of see here that I've changed this up a little bit, and I've just updated the ramp to be exactly the same as the other side, where the centerpiece moves rather than the outside as well. So yeah, I think that's going to be, yeah, just looks a lot nicer. So now one thing I need to do, well there's a lot of things I really need to do, so this episode is just going to be again pretty similar to the last one. We're just going to go around the base and update a whole heap of things. So obviously I've got to get rid of all this stuff because I don't plan to print any more ships off, at least for the moment. Another thing I want to do is I kind of want to build some pillars here that go underneath the landing pad and kind of end up in the center there and then go all the way down into the side of the mountain so that it looks like it's being supported. I also want to do something similar from this garage up to the hangar, and then another thing I want to do is I want to put some lights here in between the garage. Yeah, just many different things to do. And at some stage I actually want to redesign the reactor room too, so but we'll get into that later. The first thing I'm going to do today though is I'm going to address an issue that I can kind of foresee coming. Now obviously these 2 miners are the exact same ship, so they're both of the same blueprint. So if I go into this ship here and we go into the K menu and we have a look at our miner, so we'll have a look at miner all thrusters. Now the thing is, right, this miner all thrusters group is named the exact same thing on this ship here, on this ship, and then also on that ship there, the original one. So if I have, let's say I have both the mining ships on the back of the rover and then I turn the thrusters off on one ship, it will turn them on or off on the other ship as well. So what I need to do is I need to rename all the groups and all the items to miner 2. So I'm probably going to do this off camera because it is going to take me a ridiculous amount of time, but I thought it was important to note why I'm doing that. And yeah, you might get caught out if you decide to print off 2 versions of the exact same ship and you know you've got them both connected to a grid, and then you turn the thrusters on one ship and then it turns the thrusters off on the other, or vice versa, or you know you turn the thrusters on one and then it turns the thrusters on the other one as well, or you know there's a million different possibilities. But yeah, basically you want to give all of your ships an individual name so that the groups don't interfere with each other. And that's why I tend to have, like, you know, say miner all thrusters and then like say Pilgrim all thrusters. So well actually no, I called it the shuttle, didn't I? Although I don't think I can see the batteries for that, but that's okay. You know, you can see here we've got the Midas weld ship, And yeah, so you can see I've labeled everything individually. The only issue is in this instance is that I have two of the exact same ship, and that's why I'm running into this problem. So anyway guys, I'll be back once all this is done. Alright guys, well, I have gone ahead and I have renamed all of the components in this ship, so you can see, well, with the exception to the drills. So you can see here that I've got all my minor 2 groups, and then I have the original groups there, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete the original groups. And then also what I have done is I've gone into the hotbar, and you can see that I've got minor 2 all thrusters, minor 2 backward thrust, minor 2 connector, minor 2 connector, minor 2 reactors, and so on and so forth. So now when I turn these things on and off, it's not going to affect the other ship with the same group name. So yeah, that is one of the first things that I had to do in this episode. Now, right, the next thing I wanted to try and do, well actually, let me just place these things back onto the connector. So I'll just do that quickly. Alright, cool. That's both of the ships locked down. So now I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll get rid of... Well, first I'll remove this ship from the connector. I won't actually do anything with it just yet. So we'll get rid of this one. Whoops. Well, it doesn't really matter if I bang into things in this one because I'm going to get rid of it anyway. So I think I'll just actually... Oh, whoops. Oh well. I guess it's a good thing I'm getting rid of it then, eh? Alright, let's just park it down there. That'll do for now. So yeah, as you can see, my care factor on this ship is now 0. So let's retrieve the uranium from this ship because I don't want to grind that away. And then what I'm going to do is... Okay then, the jetpack really struggles on this planet. Okay, so let's move this one as well. So I'll turn the thrusters on this one. And I might actually change my view here. There we go. And then I'll just park this one immediately next to the other one. And in fact, you know what? I think I am going to use the Midas weld ship as a grinding ship for now. And actually, you know what? To avoid grinding down the floor of my hangar, I may even just park these out on the dirt here. So let's just drop that down there. And as I said, it's a bit of a shame because I'm going to grind away all of these batteries and it is a bit of a waste, but I think we're at a point in the game now where we have enough resources where we can just kind of sacrifice those resources and it's not really going to affect us too much. So let's pop that down there, and actually let's see if there is anything in the inventory, and no there isn't. Let's just double check this one as well. So let's see if there's anything in the inventory. Whole bunch of stone, which is of no consequence. Right, so let's see if I have enough materials to get rid of these and put on some grinders. Now normally what I would do is I would grind off both of them and then do them all in one hit. But I think in this instance I don't actually have the inventory space to do it like that. So I'm just going to do them one by one. Right. That is unfortunate. So what I might do is, since we're going to grind this one away anyway, I'll see if I can pinch the components from that one. Ah, come on. Ah, there we go. Alright. So let's unlock this. And let's go ahead and start doing some grinding. So yeah, we'll just come down here. And then we'll just start grinding these things away. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's right. I've got to add my block tools to the hotbar. There we go. Now we can start grinding this thing down. So hopefully this will go relatively quickly. Alright, that's one ship ground away. You can see that a couple of bits have been flung around the yard. So we have a piece down there, another piece over there, and they've been flung around a bit. But, oh, looks like there's a couple of pieces over there. So I'm going to have to go and fix them, or go and grind them up by hand. But let's get started on the next ship. So I think the last one, it only took me like 2 or 3 minutes. It was actually quite a quick process. So this one should hopefully go just as fast. You can actually see just the sheer amount of thrusters that I have on this ship. And that is what makes it so capable. But yeah, I do kind of feel bad grinding down all these batteries. It is a bit of a waste, but like I said, we don't need them anymore, so it should be okay. Alright, well, it looks like the weld ship is full, and you can see all these components just lying on the ground. Like, so if I just exit the cockpit quickly, yeah, you can see that I've got all these components just kind of sitting on the ground here. So I'll pick up as many of them as I can, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back into the garage, and I'm going to dock up to the connector. Oh, darn, that's right, I can't, because the connector is being occupied by the rover at the moment, and that is the only horizontal connector I currently have in the base. Okay, we're gonna have to be a little bit more creative with this one. Alright, so I really didn't think this through, did I? Alright, let's get rid of... Yeah, I know my inventory is full, but there's not much I can do about that right now. So let's grind this down, and let's place a connector here, and then we should be able to dock up here and deposit everything that we need to. And hopefully I have the components for this lying on the ground here. Done. I need small steel tubes. Alright, let's dump out that. Let's go into the mining ship, because surely I have some, or the welding ship, I should say. Right. Now we should have what we need. Oh, I need another 4 motors. Alright, let's pick that up. Another 2 motors. Do we have any more motors? There we go. Alright, now we're talking. Alright, so let's get rid of everything that's on me. Pick up all these parts on the ground. Deposit all of them. Right, now we're in business. Now I just got to watch out for these pillars. If I had the cargo space, I'd probably grind them down while I'm in this ship as well, but unfortunately I don't, so I'm going to have to just be a little bit careful with my flying. Alright, so let's connect that up. Let's find a large one. Find my ship's inventory. And let's start transferring everything across. I guess it is good that we got all of this stuff back. So at least we got something for our troubles of welding up all those new ships. And you can kind of see what I was trying to explain in my weld ship video, where even though the mining ship, or sorry, the welding ship was absolutely full and I couldn't fit any more components into it, it still was nowhere near its maximum weight. And that's mainly because, yeah, a lot of components don't weigh anywhere near as much as steel plates do. So what I tend to do is just, you know, maximize my storage and the amount of steel plates that a ship can carry, and then I kind of go from that point onwards. So now I just got to grind all this back, and it looks like my grinders won't actually pick up these components, so I'm probably going to have to do all that by hand. And you can see that Clang's not really happy with me, but darn, that actually flew for a bit, didn't it? It's just bits flying around everywhere. Alright, that's everything ground down. Well, at least everything I can probably readily access with this ship. So the rest of it now is just going to have to be done by hand. So I'll turn the thrusters off here, and then we'll jump out, and then we'll just grind everything else by hand, and then pick up all the loose components that are sitting on the ground, and then just dump them into the weld ship. Or at this moment, I guess it's a grinding ship, isn't it? So yeah, pick those up, get rid of that. It's just flung bits and pieces all over the place, hasn't it? They just seem to be everywhere. Geez, some of them went pretty far as well. Get this one. Hopefully that's the last one. Although, oh, there's even a bit over here. Jeepers. Is there any more pieces over here? I swear I saw. Ah, yeah, there we go. There's another one. Surely that's it. I wonder if there are any pieces kind of resting on top of here. I don't think they would have gotten that high. Yeah. Alright, cool. I think that is everything. So that's those two ships ground down. Now what I need to do is... Well, actually, let's plop this back down. We'll exit the cockpit, and I'm going to go and grab the second old mining ship, and we're going to grind this thing down as well, because I don't need this thing either. It has served its purpose. It has welded a few blocks up for us, that's for sure, and it has definitely proven its worth, but it needs to make way for the bigger and better model. So we'll lock that down. That might be a bit sketchy, but we'll just see what happens, I guess. Alright, turn our thrusters back on, and let's start grinding this thing down. I almost said welding there for a second, but we're not welding things, we're grinding things. Whoa! Alright, Clang. Oh no.
Fuel low.
Oh, my jetpack fuel is low as well. Oh, you're kidding me.
Fuel critical.
The worst times every time. So, as you can see, Clang has attacked my ship, and I have lost a grinder. This is not good. This is very, very not good. So, I need to replace it. Darn you, Clang. Don't know what happened there, but yeah, he was really angry. Actually, I think I did kind of mention that it was a bad idea to have this thing locked to the ground with a landing gear and then expecting Clang not to attack me. I guess that was wishful thinking on my behalf. Oh, small steel tubes. What has small steel tubes? Alright, fine. Fine. I will withdraw the small steel tubes. Oh. Alright, that enough for you? 51 small steel tubes. Hey, there we go. Right. let's try this again. Yeah, no. I'm not trying that again. Let's just grind this stuff by hand. And then we'll just deposit everything into the cargo containers. Right. I think that is everything. We have a piece over here. Maybe another little bit somewhere else. There we go, there's another little piece. Yeah. I think that's everything. Alright. So, let's dock this thing up on its temporary dock, I would say. Man, I really need to get around to making some conveyor ports into the hangar. That's yeah, that's one thing I really need to get around to doing. So let's lock that down, and we will repeat the process of moving everything across again. Okay, cool. That's everything moved across. Now what I'm going to do is move the 2 mining ships onto the back of the rover, and they will be ready to go. So we will unlock this one. Yeah, so I'll see if I can demonstrate the grouping a bit later, but I might just leave it for now. I've just got to be careful here. But then again, you guys know what I'm like with flying. Careful is not really how I operate. And in fact, speaking of careful, I really need to fix that hole in the rover from when I wasn't being careful. So let's place that back, weld that up. That is a light armor block, isn't it? Ooh, that one got damaged too. Alright. Now let's park it down. So this one is miner 2. So I think miner 2, I'm probably going to place it on this side. You know, because obviously you go right to left, right? Left, right? You know what I mean. Let's make sure she's straight. Cool. Let's turn the thrusters off. And now, if I go to the one upstairs, these thrusters, because they are in a group that is of a different name, should still be on. And they are. See, if I had done that before renaming all the groups, the thrusters on this ship would have turned off as well as the other one. So, yeah, that's why I went through all the effort of changing all these groups around, because it's just going to make my life a ton easier later on. So, we will dock this thing up right next to the other one. Cool. Alright, so that's those 2 docked up. Now what I need to do is I need to dock up the ion mining ship onto the Pilgrim. And as you can see, I still need to perform some repairs on the Pilgrim. So that is yet another thing that I need to get around to doing. As I have said many times before, there are so many things to do and so little time to do them. So you can see that, yeah, the acceleration is extremely lethargic, just because of the fact that ion thrusters just don't really work that well in an atmosphere. So yeah, and you can kind of see that we're drifting an absolute ton. And that's why I've got these 2 large thrusters just kind of jerry-rigged to the side of it, so that I can actually move it around and get it onto the Pilgrim. And then once it's on the Pilgrim, I think what I'm going to do is grind them off, and then we'll kind of store the components for these thrusters into the Pilgrim, so that when I do land back down on the planet and I need to move it, the mining ship that is, then I can just kind of get rid of those thrusters on the side. But for now, I think I will just well, yeah, we're gonna have to get rid of them.
Inventory full.
Wait. What? Oh no, what's this doing? Turn that off.
Inventory full.
Oh no. That's bizarre. So I think there was a bunch of components still in the Pilgrim that I've got to remove. So, alright.
Inventory full.
I mean inventory full. Alright. This is not good. Why are you doing this to me? It seems that this connector is pulling all the materials towards it, and I can't figure out why. Oh, collect all is turned on. I think when I was messing around with this blueprint, I put throw out and collect all until I added all these components. Alright, so let's move everything back into the shuttle small cargo containers. Right. Finally, we are done. So, now I can move on to something else. Now, one thing I want to do is just quickly add some lights here. And then I think we have a little bit of remodeling to do. And I know I really kind of wanted to get on to doing the O2 and H2 generator rooms, but I think, yeah... There is one thing that I want to do to the reactor room first, so let me just kind of explain what I want to do before I actually do the lights in the garage. Now, I have thought about creating kind of like a control room for this, and I thought about creating it at the rear of this room, but it just doesn't seem to make much sense that you walk into a room, you're confronted with nuclear reactors, and then you have to walk past the radioactive nuclear reactors to get to the control room. It kind of makes more sense for there to be the control room at the front of the room and then the nuclear reactors behind that. So my plan is to basically cut the room from this point onwards and make this my control panel from here, move this reactor over to the other side, and unfortunately that means I'm going to have to move this reactor one block across, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be a pretty involved remodeling, and it kind of sucks because these reactors are massive and it's going to take me a few trips. I'm going to have to move all these batteries, rename them, re-weld a lot of stuff, create another room. It's going to be a pain, but ultimately I think it's going to be worth it because it's just going to look 10 times better than what it does now. Alright, well let's go ahead and let's place the lights into the garage, and we'll finish at least one thing off. Or at least, I guess, a second thing, because we finished the ships. So, hey, at least there's that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the regular interior lights here. Just because I think we're going to need a little bit more offset than usual. So what I'll do is I'll just withdraw a whole bunch of components for these. Actually not those, I want interior lights, not spotlights. And then, so what I'll do is I'll make them this color to start with. Actually I think that was the color that I already had selected. So I'll place one there, then I'll go one down from that, place one there. It's really annoying how they do that. And then I'll place another one there, and they're kind of not at the same level. Like the lights are, they should technically be there, but that's okay. I think we're going to be able to do that. And then what I'll do is, rather than place them on this pillar here, I'll place them on that pillar there, and then I'll do the same on the other side. So I'm going to do all of this off camera, and then once I've done that I'll be back and I'll configure them all as well, because yeah, this process is pretty boring. Alright, well, all these lights are now placed down and you can see it looks pretty good. It's not 110% perfect because there's a little bit of a gap here. So I think what I'll do, actually, I was just going to leave it, but I think maybe what I can do is just kind of adjust the radius a bit here. So I'll find my lights, and I may even just increase the radius to 8.5 just so that the light distribution is a little bit more even. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. I'm not going to mess around with that too much more. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's get started with actually redesigning the reactor room. So as I mentioned before, what I want to do is I actually want to place a control room basically right at the front of the reactor room. So, and you can see I actually need to finish off all of these catwalks as well. But so yeah, what I need to do is, obviously you can see that this reactor here is right next to that block. So if this here is going to be the front of our reactor room from this point onwards, what I need to do is I actually need to grind this reactor down and then move it one block across. But the first thing I need to do actually is to actually get rid of this nuclear reactor. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to empty all of the uranium out of these reactors. So I'm going to turn the conveyor system off on these. Then I'm going to go into my inventory, find my large cargo container, and I'm going to move all of the uranium out of these into the large cargo container. So let's find our reactors. Let's move all that stuff out. Let's select large. Alright, there we go. That's a bit better. Hang on. Well, that was a bit weird. I'm not sure why it was doing that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is obviously grind these down. Now, I think instead what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do it a little bit differently to what I usually do. So I'm going to take the advice that many people have given me, and rather than actually, you know, kind of grinding this down by hand, what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to withdraw the components for a welder or a grinder, and I'm going to basically, yeah, I'm going to put a conveyor down, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a grinder, and I'm going to place a grinder there, and hopefully that will be in a position where it will actually grind this reactor down. So let's see if this actually works. So I'll place down my grinder, then I'll place down a conveyor, and then I need to activate that grinder. So let's find the grinder and let's see if this works. Unfortunately not. So I think what I'm going to have to do instead is actually build another conveyor up and then across there like that. So let me just quickly go ahead and do that, and I'll do a lot of this off camera just to kind of save us the pain of going through this process. Alright, well, we are done. So you can see that the grinder is now butted up against this reactor. So let's go ahead and let's grind this reactor down. So we will find our grinder again, turn that on, and still it is not close enough. Darn it. Okay, so it seems like it's only going to work if I use a welder at that distance. So that is unfortunate, but oh well, what can you do? Alright, well in that case, I'm going to grind all this down by hand, and then once that's done, I'll be back. Alright, well our reactor is ground down, and the enormity of this task is really starting to set into me. So, okay. Basically what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to replicate. So this room basically needs to shift forward up until this point here. So that right there is going to become our wall. So our wall is basically going to be like, so I'm going to have to grind down these interior lights here, grind that down, and this here is going to become our wall. But first, I actually need to withdraw some steel plates here. Alright, let's try that again. So, our wall is going to be like that. And then, as I said before, so roughly what I want to do is I'm going to move this reactor one block over, and then I'm basically just going to make the room exactly the same after that. So yeah, it's just going to be like a carbon copy of that. So in fact, I think maybe the first thing I should do is probably grind down this wall, and then we've got to drill out some more stuff. And have I actually left the projector there? Yes, I have. So I've left the projector there. So yeah, it's yeah, this is a really complicated thing, and it's really difficult for me to try and explain what I'm doing, but I hope you guys kind of follow what I am doing here. Yeah, I did have like an Excel spreadsheet set up for all this, and it probably would have made a lot more sense than this, but I think it's just going to be pretty difficult to try and record that in a video, so I'm probably just going to leave it. So, alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that catwalk. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of all these batteries. I'm going to get rid of all these lights. I'm going to drill out the side of the room, move the reactor forward, and then I'll kind of go from that point onwards. Because I've kind of designed the room the way that I want, but I don't want to kind of bore you guys too much with the whole process of moving all this stuff around, because yeah, like I said, I already designed this room out, and I think I would just kind of be repeating myself. So anyway guys, I will see you in a second. Alright guys, welcome back. So I've done a fair amount of work on this this control room, I would say. So one thing, well, I've spent probably a couple of hours doing this. Now what I've actually done is I've actually moved this wall one block further than what it was before. So initially I had planned to place the wall here, and the reason why I did move it one block further forward was just so that I could put the pillars in here in the exact same arrangement as I have them in this room. And you might notice that we have 2 blocks worth of spacing here in between the wall and the pillars. So what I plan to do now is actually go ahead and grind all of this wall down, because I'm still not 110% happy with its placement. So yeah, as you can see, you kind of go to the sides here through these doors, but it doesn't really look that great. So if we have a look on the other side, you can see that I've got the wall kind of indented and into that window, and it looks pretty good. But obviously if you go onto this side, then we just have this flat, boring wall with a window sticking out of it. So what I kind of want to do is taper the wall inwards a little bit like that, and then maybe put some blocks up there on the roof like that. So my plan is, because obviously this block here is, you know, a 2x1 slope. So if I grind that down and I try and put a 2x1 slope the other way around, then it's going to be flat on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually grab this wall and I'm going to place it like that. So, and then I'm going to leave this wall here as well, but I'm just going to change the blocks. So, you know, this block here will kind of become like a 2x1 block like that, and this window will obviously be forward another block. So yeah, I've gone ahead and I've actually laid out the room to kind of fit those dimensions. So obviously I just need to place my wall there as the back wall, and then what I need to do as well is, because this entire wall is going to move to this point here, I need to space my reactor out by 2 blocks from that point. So obviously my reactor will need to end up here, and the other reactor will basically end up there. I think that is correct, so let me just double check that. So yeah, so we've got the 2 blocks spacing in between there, and then if I place that there, then I've got 2 blocks spacing to that wall. Yeah, that looks good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grind away this reactor. I'm gonna move it over to that point there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get started with this wall. Now, I did try a fair few different things with this room. Now, initially what I was thinking of doing was actually grinding out these blocks and having a stairwell that went underneath the floor. So basically like there, and then it would go under the floor, you know, to this point, and then it would go straight through. But it would have come out directly underneath this window here, and it would have looked a little bit weird. So then I thought, okay, well maybe I can go, you know, below here and exit into this point. But the problem was I didn't really like the look of it, and you know, it was kind of going underneath the reactors, so I didn't think that was really that great. So I think these doors on the side is going to be the way I'm going to go, but I think once I redesign this wall, it's going to look a lot better. So anyway guys, I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and then I will be back. Alright guys, welcome back. So I have finally finished the majority of this room. So yeah, this is basically what it looks like. So as you can see, got a little console block in the center here with a reactor that's just, yeah, I basically just took a blueprint of a reactor and then just, yeah, projected it from the console block, so it's just hovering in the air there. Got a couple of control stations here with just some graphs, and done the same on the sides here. And obviously you can see that this kind of control room is 1 block above the floor as you walk in. And then yeah, this basically the new blocks that they added in the last update, which was the passages, and I think it's looking pretty good. So we'll head on into the room where the reactors are actually contained. So you can see, as I was saying before, I've made this wall about 2 blocks thick. So you can see obviously we've got 1 set of blocks here and then another set of blocks here, and there is actually 2 sets of windows kind of butted up against each other. So yeah, I think it looks good from this side, and then it also looks pretty good from the other side. So we'll just get a quick look at that. And yeah, so basically this button panel's here, and I'm going to use this to turn the reactors on and off, because that was one of the gripes I had with the room before. I didn't really have any way to turn those things on and off. So yeah, what I plan to do with these doors is just add some sensors, and this is probably going to be the only room that I'm going to put double doors in. The other rooms I'm probably not going to bother too much. Now obviously the room is the exact same design as before. I've gone ahead and I've put in the accent lights down the bottom. And yeah, so with the exception of this kind of entryway here, so obviously I've left these blocks out so you can kind of walk in and out. I decided to put the battery there and just kind of leave it there for now. And then obviously I've just put like a steel plate over the top of it so you can't really see the battery itself from above. So, and then I'll leave this space blank, because eventually what I'll do is I'll place a sensor there that activates this door. And then underneath here, so this is kind of where the room started out from before. So basically I'm going to put a sensor there to open the other door that sits behind this door. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that in a second, but the first thing I need to do is actually get these reactors built again. So let's just find the reactor in the hotbar here, and let's place one down. So I'm going to place one just here, so exactly the same as what I had them placed before. Let me just see what the orientation of these are. So I want the text to be upright.
Fuel low.
Darn it. Run out of fuel again. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deposit all the stuff that I have on my person. Then I'm going to withdraw a whole bunch of conveyor tubes. and then I'm going to withdraw the components for a welder. And we're just going to let this large grid welder weld the thing up for us. So hopefully this works out pretty well. So let's just place our blocks there like that.
Fuel critical.
Oh yeah, that's right. I need to get some fuel, don't I? Alright, let's go and get some fuel then. Alright, much better. Right, so let's place that down. Let's place some more conveyor tubes like that. And then I should be able to place my welder. So hopefully I've got enough components on myself to actually weld this up. Actually, I need to place it one block back. Right, so let's place it there like that. Let's weld all these up. And then let's weld up the welder. Now hopefully when I turn this on, everything should just weld up for me. So let's toggle that on. Oh, that's a grinder. What am I doing? Let's select a welder. So grinder, drill, welder. There we go. Alright, let's try this again. Right, so let's turn that on. Awesome. And then that's going to go and weld that up for us. And then I can help it along. Oh, that's so much better than doing, you know, running back and forth to the cargo containers. That is awesome. So whoever suggested that in the comments, thank you very much. Except, oh no, it's the wrong orientation. Oh, damn.
Inventory.
Alright, I'm going to have to grind this down, and once I've done that, I'll be back and we'll try this again.
Full.
Alright, well I've ground it down, so let's try this again. So, place our reactor down again, and we'll orientate it the correct way this time. Except I need some steel plates. Right. Now, actually, I don't trust the way it's been placed because I didn't see it. So let's try this again. Let's grab our reactor, place it like that. Okay, that is definitely the way that I want it. Right, let's try this again. So I need a couple of tubes. Need to get rid of that. Now, let's find our welder and withdraw the components for that. Right, let's try this again. That one, and then my welder, which is this one. Right, let's try this again. Okay, turn this on. And it should weld it up for us again. Awesome. Alright, well that certainly beats doing it by hand. Now, I need to do the same for the one that goes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind out this cargo container. Actually, no. Before I do that, I'm going to make sure that the thing is actually empty. And it is. Right, let's grind it. So, then from there, I'll place a conveyor. Not really too bothered about the orientation of that because it doesn't really matter. Then I'll grab another reactor, place that down there like that. Make sure that the orientation is correct, which it is. Then let me just place everything that's on my inventory down. And I'm going to withdraw a whole bunch of tubes here again. And then grab our welder, and I'll just grab a couple more tubes just for good measure. Right, so now I should just be able to place my, so grab the tubes, kind of spider them around like this, and if I put right angle there, then I should be able to get my welder and just place it in that space there. Actually, no. Let's get rid of that and let's try it like this. So we'll place it there like that. Alright. Let's weld all these things up. And and then we should be able to weld up the other reactor really, really quickly like we did with the other one. So let's turn this on. Look at that. Fantastic. Love it when things go to plan. As long as I put them the right way around. Alright. Let's grind all these away. Something is clanging. What is clanging? Don't know what's clanging. I think there might be something down here. Is there? Ah, there is. Uranium ingots. Definitely don't want to let them go to waste. Let's place them back in there. Let me just grind this away and just make sure there's no more uranium ingots hiding down here. Let's just drill this out quickly and let's just have a look. Nah, I think we're all good. Alright, cool. So I'll place these blocks back and we should be good to go from there. So I'll place one there. Alright, let's weld these up. What? Oh, that's weird. Right, okay, cool. So that's done. So now I've just got to place my catwalks, and then once I've done that, that's everything complete in this room. I'll turn my lights off here because I don't really need them because I've got enough light as it is. So now what I've got to do is I want to set up these sensors for these doors. So let me just find my sensor on my hotbar here. And I'm going to withdraw 4 of these. I'm going to have to go to... Actually, no, I don't need to do that. I can use the reactor. What am I doing? So let's just use this reactor. And we'll withdraw a couple of these. And I can place my sensor... I'm probably going to place it that way. And I'll do the same over the other side. Like that. And then... So that door is lined up with that block there. So that should mean that the other door is lined up with this block here. So I'll place one there. And then I'll place another one there. And we'll just quickly weld all these up. Right, so that's all the sensors done. Now we got to start configuring these. So what I'm probably going to do is just rename all these doors quickly. So this will be, you know, left inner, left outer, so on and so forth. And I'll do the same for all the sensors as well. So once I've done that, I'll be back. Right, so that is everything renamed nicely. So let's go ahead and start setting up these sensors. So obviously this sensor, I want it to be, so left extent is pretty standard, 1.25 meters. Right extent, the same. The bottom extent, which is that way, from, so, you know, obviously that is the top, that is the bottom. So the bottom extent needs to be about 2.5 because I want it to be halfway through that door. Or do I make it smaller? That's right, we'll go with that for now. Top extent, I'll leave that as 0.1. The back extent, I'll leave that as 0.1. And the front extent needs to be 2 blocks, so that's 5 meters. So the front extent, let's get on this sensor, is already 5 meters. I'll turn the audible proximity alert off. I'll go to setup actions, then I'll go left inner. So what do we have? We've got the oh, here we go, left outer. Hang on, where's this door? There it is. Alright, so open and then closed. So now it should open and close for us. Alright, cool. So now I just got to kind of do that for all of the other sensors, and we should have ourselves some nicely opening and closing doors automatically. Alright, so I'll go set up all the other ones, and then once I've done that, I will be back. Alright, finally I have set up all these sensors. So, I think it's working pretty nice. So obviously we walk in range of this sensor, and that closes, this one opens, and that's working quite nicely. So, the only things I need to do now is basically set up all the catwalks around this place, and then from there I want to set up the sensors for these doors that are in this little hallway here. So actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to set up these sensors here. So I'm going to grind this block out, and I'm going to see how far down. So come on, light, work. Thank you. So I'm going to see how far down I can actually go here. So I'm hoping I've got an extra block worth of space, and it looks like I do, so that's awesome. So what that means I can do is place a sensor here, and that'll kind of extend up through that block, and that will work out quite nicely. So I need to do the same for that block there though. So let me just grind that block out. Then I just need to drill down here, and I'm going to place my sensor on this block here. So we'll weld that up. Now the problem with sensors is you can't... Why is my drill like that? That's weird. So the problem with sensors is there can't be any voxels intersecting the sensor, otherwise it won't let you place it. So let's just try and place a sensor down, and we'll see what happens. But first I actually need to get the components for a sensor, and then we might actually be able to place it down. And it looks like there is a bit of voxel intersecting it, so I can't do that. So we'll just quickly drill this out, make sure it's clear. And I don't want to remove too much material, because as I said before, yeah, I actually damaged those blocks. Let's fix that quickly. Alright, now we should be able to actually place our sensor down. So we'll grab our sensor again, and we'll place it there, like that. Awesome. Alright, so weld this up, and then I'll go to the other end of the hallway. I'll place a block here, and then we should be able to do something very similar. Actually, you know what? Is that intersected with the voxels? Yes, it is. Alright. Before I go too far though, I actually wanted to replace these blocks with what is it? Interior plates or interior walls. Yeah, interior walls. So I'll place a block there so that this block doesn't move when I grind this one down. So just grind that, and I'll actually get rid of everything that's on my person. Draw a couple of interior walls, and we will place these in the hallway, and I want the emissive strips to be up the top. So basically the way they're orientated right now. So I'll turn my character around, place one there, place another one there, and then I can place one there. But before I do that, let's just weld these up. And I need to get some steel plates to finish welding up all the other blocks. So grab a couple of those. Right, and actually, while I'm here, actually no, let's a couple of those, one of them, and then where's my sensor? Right, now we can place all these blocks down. So let's grab a welder, we'll weld that up, then we'll place our sensor. Place a sensor there, like that. Make sure it's orientated correctly. And it is. So I'm going to name this one the Reactor Room Inner Sensor. I'll copy that. And then I'll go over to this side. And I will do the exact same thing for this sensor, except I will name this the outer sensor. And I'll name the doors something very similar. Right, I think we're ready to go. So what I want to place here is an interior plate or an interior wall. And then from there we'll place down a light armor block. And then now what I can do is I can actually see these sensors in the control panel. So yeah, and I know which one's which now. So obviously 1.25 for the left, 1.25 for the right. The front extent needs to be probably, I'll make it 2.5 for now. The back extent, I'll make that 2.5. The top extent needs to be, so hang on, it's one block below this, so it needs to be 5 meters. I'm pretty sure that's right. Let's just double check that. So the top extent is 5, front extent, right extent, bottom extent, that only needs to be 0.1. Turn the proximity off. Let's go to setup actions, reactor room outer door. So that's this one. Open, close. Right. So fantastic. It's probably a little bit further than what I want, but that's okay. Alright, so let's set up the other one, and it's going to be exactly the same as this one, as the other one that we just set up. So I'll probably skip ahead until I've actually set this one up as well. Alright, so that's that sensor done as well. And as you can see, this works really nicely. Oh, it is so good not having to open and close doors every 10 seconds. That is awesome. So now the only thing left to do is actually place down all of my catwalks and weld them up. So I'm probably going to do this off camera because you guys have seen what the catwalks in this room actually look like. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to do that off camera, and once that's done, I'll be back. Okay guys, well, the room is complete, so let's go in and have a look at what we've done. So yeah, obviously the only thing I needed to do was just add in my catwalks, and I've done that now. I've played around with the lights a little bit more, and what I decided to do this time around was add some stairs here so we can access the lower level. And then yeah, so that's pretty much the only difference to the room as it was before the last time when I had welded it up. And I decided to put catwalks with a railing here up against the light on the side of the reactor, and then here where there's the cargo port I've decided to leave no railing. So yeah, that's pretty much the only changes I've really made to it. Yeah, apart from that, the room is exactly the same as it was configured before. So alright, there is a little bit more time left in the episode, so I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the supports that I mentioned at the start of the episode that will basically support the landing pad for the Pilgrim. As some people have pointed out, it kind of looks a little bit weird being supported by, you know, one block or you know, a couple of blocks, and so yeah. Obviously I just want to go and sort that out. So I've actually sealed up all this stuff just to make sure that everything was airtight as well. So I'm going to have to make sure that I close these doors behind me. So let's go ahead and get this done. Now I'm not exactly, oh that's a bit unfortunate that there's a storm, but that's alright. Should be able to work around it. Now I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to place my support pillars. I think what I'll do is I'll place them, so I've already marked the center of this landing pad with these two blocks here. So, but unfortunately I made this landing pad even this way. It doesn't really matter too much, but yeah, it does bother me a little bit. But I think we should be able to get away with that. So what I'll need to do now is kind of find the midpoint between here and there, and then I'll have a pillar that goes to the middle and then goes straight down into the mountain like that. Well, not straight down, but on a like 45-degree angle. Or maybe I might make it the shallower angle with the with these blocks here, you know. So we'll just see how we go with that. And the game is really hitching on me quite a bit, so I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, let me just figure out where the midpoint is between these two, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, welcome back. So it turns out that my computer was just hating on me, so it decided to desync the audio from the video, and I lost about 5 minutes worth of recording. So anyway, basically what I ended up doing was dividing the total number of blocks of this landing pad by 3, and then I basically started placing my pillars at those points. So in the middle here we've got a 10 block spacing, and on the sides here we've got like an 11 block spacing. So I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. So, and then obviously what I've done is I've placed down my pillars, and I did explain this a lot more in the last video that my computer decided to stuff up, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, here we are. Yeah, so I think the very first time I ended up making them only like 1 block thick, and they just looked a little bit too thin. But I think this looks a lot better. So what I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to move a lot of these wind turbines to these pillars, and then I will do the same kind of pillar arrangement in between the top of the garage and the hangar. And yeah, so I will place a couple of wind turbines there as well, and then we'll finally be able to get rid of all this ugliness that's happening around the base. So anyway, another thing is you can see over there in 4.69 kilometers there is a Reaver Crimson Tormentor. So he actually crash landed. I didn't think Reavers would crash land on this planet, but turns out they do. So at some stage I'll go and check that out as well, but I think that will be in the next episode. Something a little bit more exciting in the next episode then, I guess. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld all this up. Yeah, and we're going to start moving some of these wind turbines, and yeah, so I'll see you guys in a sec. Alright, well, as you can see, I'm in the Midas weld chip, and I've used that to basically weld up these pillars, and I think everything is looking pretty nice, with the exception of this one unwelded block. So let's weld that up. Alright, so let's go and park this thing down back onto the connector that I made for it, and then we'll kind of go from there. So then after that, what I'm going to do is start moving some of the wind turbines onto those pillars, and I think it's going to look a lot better than what it does at the moment. So we'll just quickly dock this up. Alright, there we go. Cool, that's locked down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind these things down, and we're going to move them. So mostly I'm probably going to move these ones here. The other ones I'm not really too fussed about. But yeah, it's just trying to clean things up a bit, make it look a little bit nicer. So what I'll do is I need to find my wind turbines to begin with, and I'm pretty sure they are here. So place one there, and I know it is a little bit close to the wall, but I think it should still be kind of okay. Or it's, yeah. So we're actually not going to be able to fit too many if I kind of want to have them centered. So maybe, what's that, 8 in total. It's not too bad, but it's also not great either. So, but that's alright. I'm because I have the nuclear power, I think it's going to be okay. So I'll place one there, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So I'll place one there, like, is it there? Yeah, that's in the center. And then we'll place our next one there, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So we'll place one there, and then we'll place another one there. Alright, let's quickly weld these up. Alright, that's all of those welded up now. So yeah, they're not really getting that much power where they are, but I think it's going to be okay. And then what I plan to do as well is place some upside down on the bottom of the landing pad, which is usually what I do. And I've actually done this exact same thing in 2 of my bases, one being on Earth and one being on Mars. So if you guys have seen my video where I actually made a video about my Mars base, I did a Mars base tour, so yeah, check that out. And that's pretty much the exact same thing that I've done for that base. So anyway guys, I'm going to end the episode here. So I hope you enjoyed episode 20 of Wasteland Survival, and I hope to see you in episode 21 of Wasteland Survival. So next episode we're probably going to go and check out that Crimson Tormentor. I'm going to finish off these wind turbines a little bit. Maybe I might change up the location there of them. But yeah, overall I think we made a fair bit of progress in this base, although most of it was just kind of cleaning up things that we had done before. So yeah, nothing really new in this episode, but yeah, I mean, I got a few things done that I really wanted to get done. So anyway guys, until next time, I will see you then.